The Dragon of Dumby. The citizens of Dumby were worried. Every week one of their enemies attacked them. "What we need is a dragon," said the mayor. "A big, fierce dragon." "We did have one a long time ago," mumbled old Mr. Snotty. "But he grew old and useless, like me. We never replaced him. Expensive monsters, dragons." "We could get one from the Wildlife Dragon Park," said the mayor. So he sent a telegram. Early next morning he had a reply. It read, "Good quality dragon arriving at 10 o'clock. Do not overfeed him. Can be exchanged if unsatisfactory." As the city clock chimed 10, a long, narrow cart rattled onto the cobbled square. Inside was a long, narrow dragon. The mayor stepped forward to make a speech of welcome as the dragon clambered out of the cart, wagging his tail. The mayor was taken aback. "You should look much fiercer than that," he exclaimed. The dragon looked surprised. "I'm not fierce at all," he said in a jolly voice. The children were delighted with the dragon. They crowded round, touching his scaly green skin. "You're not as big as we expected," said Pip, the baker's son. The dragon looked wistful. "I'd like to be bigger," he said, "but dragons come in different sizes, just like people." "What's your name?" asked one of the children. The dragon looked bashful. "Promise you won't laugh," he said. Everyone promised. "Dermot," he went on, "but I'd rather be called Fred." "Nonsense," said the mayor briskly. "Fred's no name for a dragon. It wouldn't frighten a fly. Dermot you're called, and Dermot you'll stay." He looked the dragon over. "What do you eat?" he asked. Dermot licked his lips. "Cucumber," he said, "celery, and rhubarb." The mayor groaned. "All long, thin food," he said. "No wonder you're that shape." So Dermot was put on a round diet. Melons, pumpkins, dumplings, and Christmas puddings. One day he even swallowed Pip's football by mistake. He doubled his size in less than a week. "That's better," said the mayor. "Now, are you good at puffing smoke?" Dermot hung his head. "Didn't they tell you? I've always bottom of the smoke-puffing class." The mayor was worried. What was the use of a dragon who couldn't puff? He began to think seriously of asking for an exchange dragon. Early next morning, Billy the bugler, who'd been on night patrol, sounded the alert. Dermot, who slept in a railway tunnel because it was the same shape as himself, woke with a start. The mayor snatched off his nightcap and jumped out of bed. "It's the bandidados! They always attack on Tuesdays," he cried. "Captain beat me off." "What?" "Beat 'em off." Him off was giving orders to Dumby's small army. "Push out the cannon," he shouted. The cannon creaked, squeaked, and wobbled. "Can't you oil it?" said the mayor irritably. "Sorry," said the captain, "but the king wanted the oil for his armor." His Majesty tottered out of the palace, calling in a quavery voice, "Where's my good old Dando?" Dando was brought from his stable, wearing his shabby old saddle. "Don't forget his glasses," said the king. "He can't see the enemy without them." It took 5 soldiers to heave his Majesty onto Dando's back. "Where's the new dragon?" quavered the king. "He must come in front with me." Dermot groaned. Fighting was such a silly waste of time, but he would have to do his best. The people of Dumby had given him a home. He must try and repay them. The procession moved out of the city gate. The king wobbled so much that his armor rattled. The enemy came in sight. 100 fierce bandidados, wearing their red helmets with green feathers at the side. In front was the biggest, fiercest dragon Dermot had ever seen. Smoke poured from his nostrils, and he was roaring in fine style. The king looked down at Dermot. "We haven't got a chance against this lot, have we, dragon?" he quavered. Dermot shook his head in despair. Then he took a deep breath. Making a great effort, he managed to puff a very small cloud of smoke. "I did it!" he shouted. He went on puffing. The clouds got bigger. Captain Beat-em-off was delighted. "Dragon, forward, charge!" he yelled. Dermot rushed forward. Soon the bandidados and their dragon were struggling in a thick fog of smoke. Then Captain Beat-em-off sent Billy the Boogler round behind the enemy. When he sounded the attack, the bandidados thought the Dumby army was behind them. They turned and rushed down off the hill. Dermot was a hero. "I knew you could do it if you tried," beamed the mayor, crossing Tuesday off the calendar. "Now just keep in practice for Thursday, young Dermot. That's when we expect the Black Baron and his bulldoze. They're a very nasty crowd." But early next morning there was a shout from Captain Beat-em-off. "Enemy in sight," he yelled. "It's not even Thursday," gasped the mayor. Dermot's heart sank. He hoped his puff was in good order. "Never mind about the king," shouted the captain. "There's no time to get him mounted. Come along, young dragon, me lad." The bulldoze, looking very villainous, were already halfway across Dumby Marsh. In front was an enormous, roaring dragon. Poor Dermot was terrified. His smoke would be little use against such a monster. How he wished he was back at the wildlife park. Then an amazing thing happened. The enemy dragon stopped and stared. "Dermot!" he roared, a broad grin spreading across his huge scaly face. "Cyril!" squeaked Dermot, running forward. The two armies were so surprised that they sat down to watch. "When did you leave the wildlife park?" asked Cyril. Dermot told him everything. "I'm at Morrigan," said Cyril. "They're not a bad lot, but they will keep fighting. I put on a show to please them, but I do wish they'd give it up." "So do I." Dermot was delighted that Cyril felt the same. "Why don't we start a peaceful dragon club?" said Cyril. So they did. In less than a week, every dragon for miles around had joined, so there was no more fighting. The citizens of Dumby were delighted, and very proud of Dermot. As Pip said, he may look big and fierce, but inside he's the gentlest dragon in the world. So the mayor sent a telegram to the wildlife park. It read, "Completely satisfied with good quality dragon. Do not wish to exchange."